Thank you. I want to start by acknowledging the two El Monte police officers who lost their lives this week, Joseph Santana and Michael Paredes. I think it's important that we say their names and we not just refer to them as police officers. We need to understand that these were human beings. They were family members. They were members of the community. They had plans, just like we have plans for tonight and this weekend and next week and next year. They had dreams. They meant something to this community, and their lives were needlessly taken in an act of violence. It was more than a tragedy. They were ripped from this world by an act of violence that could have been prevented if we had a district attorney who was doing his job. The district attorney had the killer in the system, charged with possessing an illegal firearm, charged with having been convicted of a serious felony in the past. Standard protocol under any other DA who came before him would have seen him likely sentenced to 32 months in state prison, which means he'd still be in prison today. But George Gascon took office and he nullified the law. A law that more than 60% of the voters in this state passed. He nullified it on his first day in office, which means he just deleted it. He said in Los Angeles County, we will no longer have strikes. What gave him the right to do that? What was the legal authority for that? There was none. There was none, and our union took him to court, and they beat him not once but twice. Unfortunately, by the time Gascon got around to changing his policy, that killer's case was reduced. And he ended up with a mere 20 days in county jail. That allowed him to be on the street and be a danger to the community this week. Those two officers, those two brave young men, were answering a call for help. You know, police officers do run to danger. Unlike most of us, they signed up for that. They're committed to that. That call came in and they responded in kind. And in responding to help someone, as Eric said, they were ambushed and they were killed. And now our community is in mourning and trying to figure out how do we go on from here. How does a community go on when the people who are designated to protect us are themselves targets of violence? How do we go on with the district attorney who's more committed to people who break the law than people who are victims of crime? We don't. We don't go on. We change things. And we have the power to change things. That's the important thing to know. We are in control. We elect politicians. They work for us. We don't work for them. You have the power to change things. All you have to do is start by signing a petition. If you haven't signed one already, you need to sign it. And to the extent that you may have heard we have enough signatures, because I've been hearing that, we do not. We won't have enough signatures until they're counted and an election is called. That's when we have enough signatures. Until then, get your petitions in. Sign your family members up. Sign your neighbors up. We cannot go on like this for another 2.5 years. It's affecting our entire community, from the youngest to the oldest. George Gascon is incentivizing crime for our juveniles. You parents have spent years and years teaching your children the difference between right and wrong, and now we have a district attorney who's blurring that line. He's telling them essentially that they can go out and steal up to $1,000 worth of merchandise 2 or 3 times a day, and there will be little to no consequence for it. How are you supposed to parent your children when the chief law enforcement officer of LA County is sending that message? How are we supposed to get our community moving in the right direction when we have a district attorney who's taken us in the wrong direction? And every day that he remains in office, it gets harder and harder to repair the damage that he's doing. That's why we can't wait. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures. So I would say to those people who I hear from time to time, who tell me, I'm generally against recalls. I don't like the idea of not letting a politician serve out his term. I hear that from people. I don't understand it because I think the recall is the greatest part of our democracy because it allows us to fire a politician who's not doing his job. It allows us to fire a politician who's making our community less safe. We don't have to wait 4 years. You tell me what CEO of what company would allow an employee who's damaging his company to stay on the job for another 2.5 years. That doesn't happen anywhere else in our society, and it shouldn't happen in our government. Sign the petition, let's have an election, and let's elect a new district attorney who can start to repair the damage. Thank you.